Hello everyone, welcome back. It is freezing in my room right now. So if I sound congested or I sniffle or something, it's because I'm actively freezing to death. I can feel the hypothermia setting in. And there's a huge box behind me with my voodoo doll in it. And today, we're reading chapter 2 of The Universe by tripleS. The gravity novel that we checked out the first chapter of last time started off with them performing at a venue and a meteor came down, but it was actually a spaceship and there was a giant skeleton hand coming down, and we as Waves had the power to decide what happens next, and Waves decided, instead of trying to figure out what's going on, figure out if this big skeleton hand is actually evil or if it just has a big hand, and instead of saving our little 13-year-old fan, Waves decided, how about we just get straight to fighting? That would be more fun, which I don't know if it's the right decision, but I'm hoping for the best. I'm just going to be along for the ride and see what happens. And I do have a slight hope in me that there are failed states here and we could just make the wrong decision and the world could end or something. I think that would be really, really funny. Before we get into chapter 2, if you want to see a lot more tripleS reactions, you can go to the Patreon. You can get it free through the link in the description. Get a first month free. See if you like it and want to keep it up after that. I have very many reactions to bonus tripleS content, lots of performances and album reactions. I just reacted to Assemble again, which is one of, if not my favorite albums of all time. So if you like hearing me rant about tripleS, you can get even more of that on my Patreon. You can also decide what stuff I do in the future for content for other groups. You can recommend stuff for weekly random reactions. You can just see a lot more there. So if you check that out, I would appreciate it. Also, if you just subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss the next chapters of The Universe, and also lots of other tripleS content and other content from other groups. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into chapter 2. Okay, starting off, great artwork again. Looks like this has got to be Cheon, right? Just because of the pinkish hair. Then we got someone in, can't really see all of it. I'll just switch over here real quick. Someone with purplish hair here. Is that Mayu or something? This just looks like Kaede's face. There's a little creature and someone in a cloak. I don't know which members these are supposed to be. Maybe this one with the armor is Seoyeon. But now we are into chapter 2, Beyond Earth. Which reminds me of Beyond Beauty, I suppose. Sometimes the best defense was an outright attack. Seoyeon made up her mind and charged toward the skeletal fingers, and the moment she did, her body lifted effortlessly into the air. She moved freely, like a snowflake carried on the wind. Did this even need explaining? If I were holding a sword, I would have to use it. That sounds like a very, very in-character thought for Seoyeon for some reason. It was like, well, obviously, I have a sword, I'm going to use it. Seoyeon gripped the sword's hilt with both hands and raised it high. She brought it down with all her strength, striking the joint between the skeletal fingers. And in that instant, a flash of light burst forth. She clearly saw the skeleton flinch, its hand recoiling. The recoil from the clash knocked Seoyeon downward as well, but she quickly reclaimed the high ground. I have the high ground, Anakin. Once more. Again and again, she swung the blade, driving the skeleton back. Seoyeon delivered the final blow. A crisp metallic ring echoed as cracks spread through the bones of the skeletal fingers. That's it. She couldn't stop herself from smiling, as if she'd just won a bet. Aww. Oh yeah, I'm glad I get to make that sound effect again. But the ominous sound rang out again. Instead of retreating like before, the skeletal hand paused for a split second, then sliced through the air with the quickness of a fly swatter. I'm just gonna keep saying it. This could just be a natural reaction. Imagine you find a little world of tiny little people and you bring your hand down towards it to feel what it's like, and then someone stabs you, gives you a little paper cut in between your fingers. You're gonna be like, what the hell, man? And you might swat at them. Just because something's big doesn't mean it's... What's done is done. We've already started attacking it. I'll just give up on arguing for it. But I wonder what the "bong" sound is. What's making that? Sparks flew from the friction at its fingertips, vivid and unmistakable. In the blink of an eye, Seoyeon was slammed into the stadium floor. Pain surged through her, rising in waves from deep within her body. Are you okay? Hayeon and Seoyeon rushed over in unison. Get back. The words rose to the back of Seoyeon's throat, but she couldn't muster the strength to move even a finger. Then the blood rushed to her head. The skeleton had lifted her upside down. But the real problem wasn't Seoyeon's own predicament. It was the members' reaction. I don't see how that could be the case, but I'll hear you out. starting with Cheon, followed by Sullin and a few others. They grabbed hold of her as if in a tug-of-war, trying to pull her back. Their hands clung to Sullin's limp arm and the broad blade of her sword, crowded together in a desperate cluster. "You fools," Seoyeon lamented inwardly. "What are they doing? They're just helping her?" From high above, the skeleton suddenly released her, and then swept its hand across the stadium as if brushing off dust. The last thing Seoyeon saw was the members scattering through the air, every single one of them. Even the sword that had withstood the fiercest assault shattered with a sharp crack, splitting into 4 pieces. "You have to be okay without me." Seoyeon's eyes slid shut, and her consciousness faded. So she's just being disappointed at them for caring about her, basically? Is that the characterization they're giving her? Because last time she was looking for a purpose, and now is it like she's wanting to kind of sacrifice herself for them? So she's like, "No, why are you trying to save me? I just want to give myself for you." It's kind of interesting. A moment later, Sullin felt as though she'd been tossed into the middle of a gray desert. Is this from Sullin's perspective? Hell yeah. Are we going to get more members? Awesome. This is what I was wanting. I don't know how they're going to have 24 of them in just 4 chapters, but yeah, Sullin's perspective. Awesome. She blinked and looked around, but there was nothing of note. Only a dim sky and rock-strewn ground. It was almost as if... "Are we on the moon?" Kaede broke the silence. "The moon? Then how are we breathing?" Shion cut in. Sorry. Let me try this. The moon. Then how are we breathing? I'm sorry. Shion, please don't watch this video. Shion cut in, eyes wide. "No idea," Kaede shrugged, her curly hair floating up and staying there until she reached up and pushed it back down herself. "We all saw Seoyeon with a sword," Jiyeon said calmly. "And that huge skeleton thing, too. Nothing about this makes sense. So us getting flung to the moon isn't exactly the strangest part." Jiyeon just already can accept anything that happens. "True enough," Seoyeon agreed silently. The real problem was the fragment of Seoyeon's sword clenched in her own hand. It's gonna be like different members each have a piece of it and they have to bring it back together. What that implied. Sullin shoved the chunk of metal into her pocket. She counted only 6 members in sight, including herself. It's moon. It took me too long to realize that. This is tripleS moon. Okay, awesome. Does that mean tripleS sun is in the sun right now? That's a big problem. Were the other 18 still back on Earth? The old sense of isolation crept back in, the feeling from her early days, when she tried to communicate in English with nothing but hand gestures and body language to rely on. Like being pushed to the sidelines, like becoming an extra in someone else's story. While Kaede, Shion, and Jiyeon argued heatedly over whether any of this was real, Lin hurried over to Seoyeon and leaned her head against Seoyeon. "Oni, what do we do now?" Faced with Lin's anxious question, Seoyeon unusually had no immediate answer. Oh, so it's from Sullin's perspective, probably because she's the leader. That makes sense. Lin's voice wavered into quiet sobs, and the others began pacing in circles, lost. Then someone had to pretend they were okay. "Stop!" Sullin clapped her hands, drying every eye. "We're going home," she said, raising her voice and hiding the tremor in it. She started walking without looking back. Walking back to Earth? She could feel the others hesitate, then follow, but she had no idea what came next. When her steps began to slow, Lin hurried up beside her and whispered, "So-chan says you're reliable, Sullin. Then I can't stop." Sullin clenched her teeth and kept moving, hiding her aching legs and the fear gnawing at her just as much as anyone else's. Not long after, an unbelievable sight unfolded. In the middle of the moon stood a lone bus stop, and parked in front of it, a lunar rover that looked like something humanity might have sent up decades ago. But what drew the eye the most was a massive oval gemstone as large as a building. Following the chain attached to its top with her gaze, a colossal whale skeleton emerged in the sky, an elongated skeleton cutting through space, writhing as if alive. His head was so enormous it cast a shadow over the sun, and 3 long fin bones like fingers reached all the way down to Earth. It was unmistakably the same thing she'd seen at the stadium. So it's a whale with hands? It was just... They said it was a hand before, but now they're just saying it's 3 long fin bones that look kind of like fingers. So it wasn't really a hand? "What is all this?" Kaede asked. Sullin, too stunned to speak, couldn't answer. The moment she showed a crack, all the questions she'd been holding back came flooding out. Lin rushed toward the lunar rover first, but her body passed straight through it, unable to touch a thing. It felt as if she'd become a ghost. "Are we dead?" Lin asked, her voice trembling again. Next, Jiyeon grabbed the sword fragment sticking out of Sullin's pocket. This was Seoyeon Oni's. What happened to her? As the questions came crashing down one after another, Sullin squeezed her eyes shut and covered her ears. Think, Pirata Punaksa. There has to be a way out of this." But the words that burst from Sullin's throat were anything but composed. "I don't know." Silence fell. I don't know what I'm doing, or if we can even go home." Sullin clamped a hand over her mouth. She stood there, tense, bracing herself. Then Seoyeon gently patted her back. It's okay. If you hadn't pushed forward, we wouldn't even be here. We're here because of you, Sullin. Sometimes a single sentence could quiet 1,000 fears at once. Sullin hugged Seoyeon tightly. Thank you. Her heart settled, oddly calm. There were things only people who weren't the protagonists could do, supporting everyone from behind instead of dragging them forward. Yeah, we can do this. We'll find a way. Not me, us. Sorry to interrupt the wholesome moment, Hayeon said, raising a finger. But earlier we passed straight through objects, right? That means we can't grab anything, which means we can't eat, right? Thank you. Hayeon, of course, in character, asking the real question. That's actually what scares me the most. Being on the moon makes me crave puffed rice snacks. Just the other day. Let's focus on getting over it, Seoyeon said, tapping Shio's shoulder playfully. Characterization. Immaculate in this. Perfect. Laughter finally bloomed among them. Thank goodness. Seoyeon let out a quiet sigh of relief. After that, they began investigating more calmly. One detail caught Sullin's attention. They couldn't touch the lunar rover at all, but the absurdly large gemstone and even the bus stop felt completely solid. This... Seoyeon hesitated while examining the gem. Tell me, Sullin said. She wanted to be someone others could lean on, the way she had leaned on members. It's a cameo, like the kind used in rockets. Rockets? Kaede snapped her head up, suddenly energized. A cameo, like the kind used in rockets? I don't know what that means. The only cameo I know is the movie thing. Before anyone could stop her, she sprinted forward, leaping up and clinging to a protruding edge of the gem like a rock climber. Then we can go home, right? Let's go. No, not rocket. Locket, like a necklace. They both the same word in Korean, dolket, which is just a completely different thing. I wonder what the Korean version said. Carvings like this are called cameos. Seoyeon corrected herself with an awkward smile. Just as Seoyeon had said, its sheer scale made the details hard to grasp at first, but up close, the gem was finely and delicately crafted. At its center was a curled-up space whale surrounded by various women. 24 women were carved in solid lines, with more women branching off in dotted outlines, like souls leaving their bodies. It looked as though they were hunting the whale or holding it back. Is that us? Sullin leaned her head against Seoyeon's shoulder, lost in thought. What is all this? Meanwhile, the others seemed fixated on the idea of escaping the moon by clinging to the gem. But Ada kind of has a point, Jiyeon said, bouncing lightly in place, arms outstretched to keep her balance. I think I'm getting the hang of it. She grabbed Kaede's arm as she spoke, and that would have been fine if the whale hadn't suddenly started moving. The same ship horn-like sound echoed thunderously. The bong! And the gem began dragging across the lunar surface. If not now, we'll miss it, Jiyeon shouted, reaching out. What do we do? Get on that? Hayeon stomped her feet in panic. Sulling bit her nails. Hayeon wasn't talking about the whale's necklace. That exact moment, a flute-shaped spacecraft slid to a stop in front of the bus stop. Tiny pink aliens, no bigger than dolls, climbed out from between the rocks and boarded it one by one. They looked like a strange mix of rabbits and foxes. A few of them stared curiously at Sullin's group. So that's what they had at the beginning here, I think. So this moon? I feel like this looks like sun, because that could be Xinyu. Then that looks like Chaewon. The back could be Haerin Mayu. That looks like Yuan on the right. They're meeting these little creatures. Boarding the ship might be the fastest way back to Earth, but the cameo carved into the necklace, the 24 women, was even more intriguing. Maybe there's a reason they'd been flung all the way out here. Run, Sullin said quietly. That was the signal. All 6 of them sprinted toward the massive gem. The moment they clung on, the gem fully lifted off the moon's surface. Their outfits transformed into heavy cloaks and antique ribbons, layering themselves over their thin stage costumes. The fabric shimmered softly, rough yet luminous, as if the moon surface itself had been woven into it. Hold on tight, Kaede shouted. Pulled forward by momentum, the gem surged ahead across the vastness of space, past countless stars, straight into the maw of the whale monster. Meanwhile, in another place, a piercing scream jolted Xinyu awake. It's because they're on the sun. They're all burning alive on the sun. Chan was shrieking at the top of her lungs, her face draining of color. What? What is it? Go take a look. Xinyu did as Cheon said. The moment she pushed open the white metal door, a vast sea of crimson flame spread out before her, just as if they had fallen straight into the heart of the sun, the blazing light and heat raging all around them. What she thought was a room inside a building only moments ago turned out to be the cabin of a small yacht. It had been cast adrift in the middle of a burning ocean. They're on a yacht on the sun. That's sick as hell. Hold on, Xinyu rubbed her eyes. In the distance, a gigantic skeletal whale was charging toward them, as if it meant to swallow the yacht whole. Its momentum was terrifying. What on earth is that? Yuan scratched her head. This is why I said we should have rechecked today's schedule. The deck was pure chaos. Members who usually needed no instructions to find and do their jobs had fallen into a state of near panic. Come on, guys, get it together. You still have to do your jobs. Perform. Maybe that'll help something. The whale, jaws gaping menacingly, was drawing closer by the second, and there was nowhere to run. Mayu clung to the railing, trembling as if seasick, while Hayeon and Yuyeon whispered urgently to each other. With the decisive moment approaching, there was no sense of unity at all. But from far away, doesn't it look kind of cute? Cheon said, raising her voice slightly as she crouched down. What's cute about that? Cheon snapped, bursting out of the cabin. What's cute about that? Wait, it wriggles. It's cute. If they saw it as a keyring, I'd buy one. Cheon's dreamy tone was unhelpful enough, but what truly shocked Xinyu was a single word she caught from Hayeon and Yuyeon's conversation. Jump? Xinyu strode over and cut in. Who said anything about jumping? Well, it's clearly chasing the boat. Since we don't seem to burn to death anyway, I was thinking maybe we could just splash down. Hayeon avoided her gaze. You stupid? What Xinyu had met was something closer to, this boat is our only hope. Are you seriously talking about abandoning it? Seriously just said that? You stupid? There's more drama in this novel than there ever would be a real tripleS member. You dumbass Hayeon. But in moments of desperation, words had a way of coming out wrong. This chaos had to end. She knew that in a crisis, someone had to take control. And right now, she saw no one else who could. tripleS. She straightened her shoulders and back. We're not dying. Let's try doing exactly what I say from now on, okay? Our target is over there. She pointed toward the city encased in translucent pink bubbles. Bubblegum Girl looked abandoned and desolate, but it seemed like it could offer shelter. Given that they were all still alive, an ancient civilization at the center of the sun barely registered as strange anymore. As everyone stood frozen, Hayeon was the first to back Xinyu, boldly. Let's do it. Right. Better than jumping into fire. Xinyu moved fluidly, assigning roles. Yuyeon and Cheon to the helm, Cheon and Hayeon to the sails, while she took command from the deck. Do Cheon and Hayeon know how to control sails? I sure don't. The problem was Mayu, who was struggling just to stay on her feet. Mayu. Xinyu knelt to meet her eye level. You watch the back and tell us how close it's getting, okay? The helm and cabin were both toward the bow. Can you really trust me with that? Mayu sniffled. I'm just the Barbie role. Oh. No, Mayu, Xinyu said firmly. You're the smartest one here and the most driven. Trust yourself. Mayu nodded, and from then on, the team steered the yacht, leaving to avoid the whale. Still, the city showed no sign of getting closer. The skeletal whale, on the other hand, was far too fast. Its hollow eye sockets loomed so large that hands could no longer hide them. Xinyu's heart pounded violently. What now? The brink of disaster, Cheon's earlier words echoed in Xinyu's mind. Doesn't it kind of look cute? Let's go inside it, Xinyu blurted out. Even she couldn't believe what she had just said. Are you stupid? Hayeon shouted. Are you insane? We can't get into that. Xinyu pointed at the shielded city. To the whale, look at the size difference. Maybe we'll actually be safer inside it. Have you lost your mind? If it's a skeleton, then what is inside it? Just like hanging out on a rib or something? Like they said, it's skeletal, so inside it is hard to imagine. Have you lost your mind? Hayeon shot back. This is about whether we live or die. Why do you get to decide that on your own? I wasn't expecting there to be this much drama, man. The sudden accusation left Xinyu speechless. Well, I mean, you called her stupid at first. Did I mess up? I was thinking about everyone. No, hey, Joe Xinyu cries over letters. Words might not be reckless after all. Huh? Cheon stepped in, uncharacteristically serious. I don't understand the explanation there. She cries over letters. Her words might not be reckless after all. You're sure? Trust me, Xinyu pleaded, gripping her hand. Soon the yacht's bow turned. It seemed everyone had reached the same conclusion that no matter what they did, being swallowed was inevitable. As they sped forward and passed through the whale's jawbone. I mean, even if you're swallowed, if it's a skeleton, you just escape it through the skeleton. Xinyu squeezed her eyes shut, but the landing was unexpectedly calm. Inside the whale's bones stretched a vast grayish tunnel. The ground shook like an earthquake whenever the whale moved. But otherwise, there was plenty of footing, and it wasn't difficult to watch. So they're in the jawbone? So it's a skeleton whale. The whale ate it by having it go in its jawbone? Is that what's happening? Inside the whale's bones stretched a vast grayish tunnel. Confusing. Wow, look at this. Someone's been living here. There are fields and everything. Think we could grow sweet potatoes? I'd totally settle down, Cheon said airily. Cheon's just characterized some dude just doesn't give a shit. Didn't you talk about sweet potato pie last time too? Cheon chuckled. It's my retirement dream. After that exchange, Xinyu and the others followed the traces of civilization deeper inside, like Hansel and Gretel trailing crumbs. After walking for about half an hour, a familiar sight appeared. Inside the whale's bones was a space identical to the city they had just given up on. Xinyu stepped across the boundary as if drawn by a spell. So maybe they're destined to make it to the city. A living city, or, a chilling thought crept in, was there any guarantee this cosmic beast hadn't swallowed entire alien cities whole? Maybe that was why it had come to Earth to devour everything. At that moment, a distant thud of drums echoed. Small creatures, barely reaching Xinyu's knees, peeked out from all directions. Perky ears, tiny limbs, and strangely monstrous pink bodies. Are these... Wait a minute. We had a Gravity a while ago to decide, like, mascot characters for tripleS. I don't even remember what one. Was it monsters? Maybe these are those. Because just reading it, I'm like... I had the thought, I was like, this seems like the type of thing that would be like a signature character for tripleS in the future, but I just remembered that they actually had a Gravity for that, and I'm pretty sure Monsters won, so this is probably it. These are probably the actual ones. Maybe there'll be one for each member. If they're all pink, that would get kind of old, I feel like. But maybe the members are gonna turn into these creatures or something. Aliens that looked like they belonged on a mascot poster formed a circle around them. By sheer coincidence, the whale's rib bones, towering like pillars, were carved with images of 24 women clad in armor like warriors. Their faces were indistinct, but no matter how she looked at them, Xinyu was sure they were tripleS. As Xinyu studied the mural with unease, the aliens' music grew more intense. Simple yet powerful, like tribal polyrhythmic drumming. In time with the beat, vine-like flowers sprouted over the members' clothes. Embroidery formed without thread or needle. Their white outfits shifted into roomier pink fabric, hoods and frills added, until they looked ready to cast spells at any moment. So becoming like forest fairies or something. Why didn't they do art to show what happened to the moon members? Yeah, these are the creatures. They don't look that monstrous. They look just like cute little fox rabbit things. A phrase from their debut era teaser surfaced in her mind. Girls with special powers live without knowing each other's. Wow, it's finally happening. They haven't really made that a thing for all of their music videos or lore or anything, but now they're finally like, oh yeah, that was in like the very first tripleS teaser, so let's bring that back. I thought it was just good marketing. The situation was bewildering, but she realized she didn't entirely hate it. What is this? What is this? Why is it following me? Handy shrink back. There's a lot of references to tripleS stuff. I'm actually impressed. Like, there's a lot of like referencing Xinyu crying to the letters in BB, and now this, I'm sure, is a reference to Hayeon being scared of the sheep in that one signal. Like, I'm impressed with how much actual thought was put into this. Hayeon shrank back, dodging the aliens. She's actually scared of animals. They're cute, though, Yuan laughed. That instant, Xinyu's vision warped. For a split second, the small aliens all looked like threatening skeletons before snapping back to their original forms. Or maybe this was the disguise, and the skeletons were their true shapes. Xinyu clenched her fist. Now the aliens encircling them no longer seemed harmless, but Chaeyeon was happily reading them. They're like Hello Kitty, while Chaeyeon crouched beside one, matching movements with an alien that didn't even share a language. Why aren't you asking Chaeyeon for more information about this if she is an alien? To make matters worse, she spotted other members waving from a distance. Seoyeon, Jian, Kaede, Xinyu, Lin, and Sullin. She was glad to see them, but the meaning of their gestures was unclear. Were they warning them to run away or calling them over? Xinyu glanced at her members. Should she trust the warning rising from her gut? Are they fake? What if these little skeleton monster creatures can shapeshift into these pink things, but also shapeshifted into the members? Xinyu glanced at her members. Should she trust the warning rising from her gut, or surrender herself to what felt like an inevitable flow of fate? It was time to decide. What will happen in the next scene? 1. Just dance. Groove with aliens. Hell yeah. 2. Chosen warriors. Aliens gift weapons. 3. Rescue run. Rushing to face aliens. 4. Answer call. A distant member calls. Okay. Talk about the chapter first, then get into what I think we should choose. It's very cool. They're definitely getting really into the whole Misonya's comeback. Like, it's clearly very planned for this comeback. I was wondering if it was just kind of going to be a random thing that they just happened to put after a comeback just so there's more attention on it. This is definitely very clearly planned for this comeback, which is really, really cool, man. I've never experienced anything like this for a K-pop group before. You know, as always, Jae and Jung, all of his groups just never ever stop doing things that surprise me and are completely new to me. But this is just so cool. Like, this is the reason people read fan fiction, is to get stories about the things they love about these idols that they're fans of. But getting it officially released like this, high quality and cool art and everything, is such a cool experience. But I love seeing the perspectives of the different unit leaders too. Getting Sullin and Xinyu next time, get Sullin again, and then Hayeon. That'll be my favorite. I wonder where the Zenith members are, because Zenith is like, it's not a place, obviously. I think it means like, I looked it up, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a complicated thing, but it's like going up out of Earth. It's like the top of Earth, but from the perspective of like where you're standing, like you're at the zenith, or like the zenith is like the point where you are in like going up out of Earth. Because like, obviously in space, there's no real definition of up. So the zenith is the version of up which you think of when you're, a human on Earth, is you think up as being into the sky. So that's like the zenith. It's going up from the surface of the Earth. I think that's what it is. So I wonder where they're going to be. They're just going to be sitting on Earth. Like, where did everyone go? This chapter definitely was a lot more interesting than the last one. Asked a lot more questions, and it's really world building a lot, and makes me excited for more of a story. And like sad that it's only 2 more chapters. I hope they like do this for future comebacks, man, because it's a really, really fun idea. I don't know how many people are actually reading this, but I hope it's a lot, because it's so cool seeing them actually going to the moon, and just the setting of them being on a yacht, floating on the sun as if it was an ocean is so cool. And all the mystery of what are these aliens, what are these carvings of tripleS members, what is this big whale thing. It's all getting more and more intriguing as I go on, and adding more and more things to question about. There aren't really any answers yet, but they're just piquing my interest more and more. So I love this chapter a lot. And I do really love, even though it's really, really amusing, I do love how they're like putting actual drama into it, and like, the members kind of arguing with each other and everything. Like, it's not something that most K-pop companies would want to do at all. They wouldn't want to, even in a fiction like this, they wouldn't want to say anything like that. But it just makes it really fun. It makes it feel more real. Like, yeah, they're gonna fight in these high pressure situations. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's just so much stuff that makes it feel like whoever wrote it is a serious tripleS fan. Like, so many references to tripleS things, and like the characterization for all of them seems pretty good. Like, I feel like the unit leaders, they're like giving them more of an uncertainty in their heart, because they want them to have the story arc of like becoming a leader and being real strong. And maybe it's a bit more than the members might actually feel like in these situations. I don't know if Sullin would actually be taking the lead there, but obviously makes sense for the whole msnz concept. But yeah, I just seriously love everything about this chapter. Especially was super, super cool. So what do I think should happen in the next scene? And all 4 of these things are interesting. Just Dance, Groove with Aliens. Makes me wonder, like, they have to have obviously like a plan for how the rest of the story is going to go already. So how much does this stuff affect? Like, if we chose something different last time, what would have happened? I think it's my headcanon that little 13-year-old Wave is dead now because of us. I think that was the consequences of our actions. We didn't mention her again because we killed her, and they didn't want to acknowledge that. But that's the only possibility. Yeah, like, are they just changing the little first parts of the story when we make these decisions, or what? Because obviously it's a very well thought out, well planned story from start to finish, because they keep giving all these clues and everything. But I'm like, if we just pick Just Dance, Groove with Aliens just for the fun of it, like, is that going to have real effects on the story later, or is it just going to be a kind of amusing first little scene, and then we'll just move on to the initially planned story? We can just choose to just groove with the aliens, or the aliens gift us weapons, or we rush to face the aliens. Rescue run, rushing to face aliens. Do they need rescuing? They all turn to skeletons. They no longer seemed harmless. Then they spotted the other members waving from a distance. She trusts the warning rising from her gut, so she feels like something's wrong. But is it with the aliens, or what? Rushing to face aliens, but they're like all around them anyway, so what would rushing to face them do? It says rescue run, so what are you rescuing? Unless it's the other members, and she just feels in her heart that they're actually aliens. I don't know if that was just something my mind came up with, or if they're actually trying to hint at that. Or answer call, a distant member calls. This one's a lot harder to choose. They all seem kind of vague. Like, I don't really understand what's going on right now, so it's gonna be hard to make a choice here. I wonder what they're gonna choose. Might as well just go with a groove with aliens. That I still don't actually understand what this third one means, so I wouldn't pick that one. Aliens gift weapons. That could be cool. Seeing if they would have like personalized weapons for each member, that'd be fun. Like a Lord of the Rings type thing. It's like, you get this cloak, you get this dagger, or whatever. Then a distant member calls. Is that just the moon members? Like, hear them calling and they answer it? Like, I don't know what it means. Spotted the other members waving from a distance. So they're in a city that I guess the moon members are also in too. They said it looked like a pink bubble, so that's like a bubblegum girl concept, but the moon members are here too. With Seoyeon, I just realized with Seoyeon being the leader of Neptune and having fly up, like, maybe that's why she flew up when she got the powers and went to fight the thing, is because she's in Neptune with fly up. So I wonder how then this is gonna really take Q&A. This is really hard to choose. I mean, between the first and the second, but maybe honestly, all four of them are pretty even to me. Like I don't know what's right to choose here. I think first just because that'd be kind of funny. I'm the type of person who likes to just do the funniest thing, but I also want to take it seriously. But I don't really know what any of these things mean that well. I suppose, like what I said last time, I want to get more information. So suppose I'll say answer call, distant member calls. If we actually speak to these other members that Xinyu seems to be feeling a warning rising in her gut. If we actually speak to them, then what will be revealed there? I don't know. I'm just very confused about this whole situation, which I like. I'm liking that feeling, but it makes it hard to choose what to do next. So I think I'll go with number 4, answer the call. That's my choice for the gravity. So yeah, really don't know what to expect from the future ones. I'm sure next chapter is just going to be same stuff as the here, except with the other 2 units, and then they'll probably all meet up and then have a big climax for the 4th chapter. But very curious to see what happens, because then if like this decision feels like it's for Xinyu, right? So that just happened at the beginning of the next chapter, or what? Are we just gonna immediately go to Neptune for the next chapter? A lot of questions to be answered in the coming chapters, but I'm very, very excited for it. I seriously love it. Like I loved the first chapter definitely, but it's just got me a lot more into it. So really, really enjoying this. Can't wait for next week. Let me know what your thoughts are on the chapter below, on the characterization of all of them, on whatever's going on. If you have any theories, let me know, and let me know what you think should happen in the next scene, I suppose. And of course, check out the Patreon if you want to see a lot more tripleS reactions. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any future tripleS videos on here. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next chapter.